I'm guessing Transhuman, I don't know, Peter, you could probably comment to that.
Peter's left the meeting, I think.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so
he said he had to leave at 9. He said he had to leave at 9.
Yeah. So he's not. But anyway, so he said last week he has about 13,000 users on his Transhuman coin, but obviously they're not. They like. Is it relevant to like health data? You don't know because that's just like far and wide, right? Anybody can.
Yeah. Rizwana, I'm gonna just answer that quickly. Peter is in another meeting with Ben Gruzel from the AGI. Transhuman Coin currently has over 21,000 members in our community and over 13,506 holders. And beyond just the strength of our community, we are manufacturing IoT health devices, which collect data from our health data from our members, and we are partnering with Itheum to monetize those data for the holders. We do have the Transhuman Coin smart bracelet, which collects your temperatures, your blood pressure, oxygen saturation, and a couple of other data points from your body. And we do have the Transhuman Coin Smart Body Scale, which collects about 26 data points from your body, including your BMI and all of that. And the idea is to integrate that with Itheum, right? So with SAMRC Transhuman Coin Itheum partnership, it means there will be data that is readily available for use by the partnership, and we are in partnership with some manufacturers in Google Tech in the US. They make AI enabled autonomous wheelchairs, and it uses brainwaves, to communicate with the device. I mean, between the disabled user and the device, and all of that data we would sync also with Itheum, So when we come up with a project that okay, I'm just going to also say this on the funding aspect. We do have a wallet which currently has over 500 million Transhuman Coin, and the value of that keeps increasing. And the idea is that this is the wallet that funds R&D in science, medical science. So the partnerships we try and explore would entail the sharing of all of that resources.
And who owns the wallet?
The wallet is under the control of the Scientific Advisory Board of the Transhuman Coin. It's a 12-member board. Art is a member of. In fact, the Transhuman Coin team on this meeting are actually members of our Scientific Advisory Board. Art, there is Jose from Spain. There is Dr. David from UK. He's actually the father of his respected as the father of the smartphone generation. He created the first smartphone OS. And there is me, there is Peter, there is Alice, and there's a couple of us in the sub.
Okay. And sort of the model you propose, obviously the data you generate or you harness on your platform. I just want to understand, from an MRC perspective, we obviously have studies that are already designed, data collection that is happening. I'm just trying to understand, with regard to different study designs, obviously relevant data is collected by different people. How does that work with the Transhuman Coin community now? If that's what the proposal is, to kind of use all of MRC's data trading, I don't know what exactly is the proposal.
Okay, so this is the proposal. I mean, with our partnership with Itheum, we can be able to supply data, to SAMRC, for the purpose of research, and we can also explore new projects that we can either co-fund or make use of the technological resources available to us as both blockchain developers and IoT health devices manufacturers, and at first we had mentioned that we could, explore the possibility of developing a technology that allows or that reminds people to taste for their HIV status, and I mean that is, the application of IoT in health, and those are areas that we actually have a lot of expertise and partnerships in, and that also would enable users, to share status and monitor CD4 counts and sync that with their mobile devices, and probably link it with Itheum's technology, where they can actually monetize or get some kind of economic rewards by sharing their status.
Okay.
So there are those kind of possibilities that we can explore.
Okay. I'll take, I think, Patrick, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, just to respond, Riz, to me, the typical example of this would be if we were doing a research on hypertension and we needed 1,000 patients or 10,000 patients or participants, and this would give us the ability to register those participants using this system that are already registered. So we can go to the ones that are registered, track their blood pressures over a 3-month period or whatever the study is, and you may want them to include what medication they're on or something like that, and you could sort of do your study around that type of thing. That's where I see this type of thing benefiting significantly in that type of scenario. If you were doing a diabetes study, some of those participants may well be diabetic. You might want to be tracking HbA1c readings, or you want to track what the daily readings are and that type of thing. And it's that type of research I think with this type of solution would definitely benefit on.
Yeah, so it's like literally just using the Itheum platform as such.
That's correct.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. So if you want to build those form of research-driven data collection programs, then Itheum is the perfect solution for you. But there's one more step, one more point to make there is, as Dr. Charles has said, we can engage the community because we have this concept of incentivizing them to share their data, which is, usually they're not used to that. They're used to giving away the data. Most of them are voluntarily giving away the data, but we could incentivize them to give it, and then the idea being we can engage a bigger audience based on the model that we put in place.
Okay, can I take Martin? I think his hand is up for a while. Martin? We can't hear you.
Sorry, Patrick actually answered my question. I actually wanted to ask you, Rizwana, typically what kind of data would you require if this went ahead? Like what kind of public data, health data, typically would you be collecting?
So I mean, I think like we spoke about this briefly the last time. We just said, from our perspective, I mean, we generate a lot of genomic data, and we want to obviously be able to mine that data and and do it in a way where we can share data sets across different studies. And this is where it becomes tricky with genomic data because, it's very sensitive. Literally, you can identify people with this because you might not disclose it, but the data set itself is like a fingerprint of a person, so that's where it becomes difficult to like just share it. And I think, having a platform like Itheum, and from your presentation, Mark, I gather that there is a way that we can encrypt it and we can make sure that it's not identified, in terms of the patient, but still we need to mask certain portions of the genome, etc., because we obviously won't trade the entire data, for one person, one patient. That component of that person's data, you can't share everything because you have to de-identify that person. There are unique things that obviously will, like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
And we do this, this is done routinely when you log data in an archive, and this is like according to publication protocol, etc. And so it also, like whatever platform we also use, we must be able to also meet those requirements. And then those data sets are usually governed by data access. So if we're doing a study, we have 100 samples that were sequenced. There's a data access committee behind that because we obviously got the informed consent from the patient, etc. And then we will govern the data and we will log the data wherever for publication purposes. We will then manage that data. And there's obviously different groups now managing different data sets because of this method of working. So maybe this platform can, work with being able to harmonize that type of data. And the reason why you'd want to do that is because over time, you want to be able to collect enough genomic data on your population so you can make inferences, and move towards a more personalized medicine agenda or precision medicine agenda. So that's the ultimate aim, and that's kind of like we need some methodology or technology or whatever to help facilitate it. And from what you presented, it looks like this platform can do certain things. I'm just not clear on the Bitcoin part. That's the part that I also don't know how you manage that, what it means, what is actually traded and generated. How is the value of the coin increased? I don't know those.
Okay. I'm just gonna share a bit on the cryptocurrency aspect.
Sorry, Charles and Chris also had his hand up.
Okay.
Chris, you're on mute.
Thanks. Thanks very much. My question is quite related to Riz's question, so I'll just be very brief. On the previous call, I sort of got the impression, I guess mistakenly, that Itheum was storing more the ownership of the data, but not the data itself. But I take it now that the data is actually stored as well. So can I just ask, is that all cloud-based, obviously, data? And is it the kind of formats would be open to definition and that sort of thing on a study per study? Obviously, there are a vast number of different types of data, and that would need a very flexible data definition structure, I imagine. Thanks.
Yep, I can take that question. So yeah, that's right. So last time we spoke about where is this. So if you look at DNA data, that's a huge data set. Where is it going to be stored, right? So Itheum doesn't store the data on the blockchain. We store it in this thing called regional decentralized hubs. It's a fancy way of saying it's like encrypted and stored where you want it to be stored. So in your case, you probably want it stored in your same country as, for protection purposes. What Itheum gives you is two things, right? So we have trusted computation, and what that means is, in that event you mentioned, it's the DNA data is so sensitive, it's like a fingerprint to us. We can encrypt it, like currently, I'm guessing the way they store it is they're encrypting it and storing it. What Itheum is doing is it's doing per user encryption. So this is very, very important to understand. Like if I'm storing my DNA, it's encrypted with my key. And what that means is even if the data set is breached and hacked, you cannot do anything with it. So it's the most secure form of encryption. So that's what we do with, what I was trying to pull up was we're working on a partnership with a privacy preserving blockchain that takes per user encrypted data to run algorithms on top of it. But I couldn't pull up, I'll share that with you guys later on. But that's, and the third part of that is what Itheum stores on the blockchain is a proof that the data was never tampered with. And why is that important? If you're collecting DNA data and you're storing it in your data center using the really advanced per user encryption, and a researcher wants to use it, you want to verify that at any given point in this sort of supply chain, it's not being contaminated. And that's really important for a researcher. So these are the things that Itheum can provide in this sort of example.
Charles, you had your hand up.
Okay, so I just wanted to comment on the cryptocurrency to fiat conversion process. So it's actually a very simple process where we convert our tokens to fiat, like your dollars, rands, euro, So what we do is we swap the Transhuman coin to USDT, which is a stable coin. Then we sell that on the centralized exchange, like your Luno, your Binance. Luno is a South African crypto company, and we've used that method to fund research in Australia. I mean, in the University of Technology, Sydney, where we funded students. We funded students with some seed capital through Dr. Avinash is our SAB leader. That's the method we are using for that project, and that's what we intend to use for our future projects. Where we swap from our native token to a stable coin and then convert to fiat on a centralized exchange. The thing about cryptocurrency is the value is not stable. So I wouldn't be able to say this is the value now because it changes per second, And we currently sit at about $4.6 million market cap. Last year we were at 70 million USD market cap. It's just volatile. That just give an idea of the instability of the value. But the stable coins are stable. Hence they are called stable coins. They are pegged against the US dollars. And that's a simple conversion process. And we won't be funding with our cryptocurrency. We'll be funding in fiat. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I hope that answers the question.
Martin?
Thanks, Rosana. Yes, Dr. Charles, so practically on the ground, how does someone from a local population actually get that cash in their hand to, how do they extract the value so that they can go and buy something if there's this incentivized program?
Okay. Well, it's like I said, you exchange cryptocurrency to fiat on what we call the centralized exchange. And in South Africa here, we have Luno, we have altcoin traders, and these are South African companies that are licensed to exchange crypto to rand, and you have a wallet, which is your crypto wallet. It could be a Trust wallet, MetaMask, or your Binance Luno wallet. And when you receive a cryptocurrency in those wallets, there is the option where you can swap those the cryptocurrency that you receive. You can swap it to a stable coin like USDC, USDT, or the BUSD, right? Then once you swap it, the value that you get, that you receive at that point, is stable. It's pegged against the USD, the US dollar.
So
go ahead.
Sorry, I understand that. So what I'm really asking, what it means is that the recipient needs a bank account, and they probably need a credit card. They need to download, install, and get themselves verified on Luno.
Yeah, correct.
And then they need to go through the process of selling their coin, turning it into dollars, and then moving those funds from their Luno account into their bank account if they have one.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that takes a few minutes to complete.
Yeah.
Jabu has an experience. I think she can share.
So, what happens in the case of, I know you want to give value to the people that we are going to, we study and that are recruited into our cohorts. But, most people, they don't have the know-how in this technology. So how do we make sure that they do get that value?
Rosa, I'm not following you.
So like most of the people recruited into these studies, they don't know how crypto works. They might not even be smartphones.
Wouldn't we just transact in rands with them?
Oh, like we do it as MRC. We could.
Yeah, or
yeah.
I don't, so it's I guess it all depends. They could obviously register on Luno, and there are probably lots of ways. It's like opening up a bank account. It could be in in cryptocurrency, or it can be in actual rands. And as far as I know, anyone can open up a Luno account. Am I right?
Yeah,
that's correct.
So I suppose going forward, we'll have to do that with them. But the data that we've already collected, that I don't think we'll be able to trade with those people, right?
Yeah,
we're losing
because
we're losing it. It'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting thing to see whether the MRC could open up a Luno. We should ask the question: can the MRC open up a Luno account? And what are the PFMA and PFMA regulations? Yeah, it'll be an interesting exercise just to see.
I don't think there's regulation. I don't think that PFMA thought about that.
Well, maybe it's a good place to start. We should let's ask. The MRC.
Because then if you then we could pay those recipients. It's easier. Like we would pay in any study, Glenda.
Yeah.
Okay, so we understand how the transhuman coin works. Martin, you have got your hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say, so this is my only challenge with this. It's quite restricting because for Luno you need a credit card to get registered, and it's not an easy process to get registered on Luno. It's not simply you just type in your username, password, and ID, and they give you an account. It's quite a process. The other thing, like you saying, Glenda, is that the coin hasn't been really defined yet globally. So it can either be a share or it can be an asset, or it can be a fiat. It can be money.
Yeah.
And those have tax implications. There's capital gains, which applies to some. If it's an asset, the other exchange. And this is my only challenge with this. It's lovely technology, but regulatory, it's, I think, quite a challenge. Especially, and if you want to take over the ownership of then paying the recipients with another process, it means you're now going to have a double layer of operations to do this work, which is going to be quite challenging.
I'm just going to respond to that, Martin, quickly. SARS did publish an article on this on the 17th of January 2022, and they mentioned that normal income tax rules apply to crypto assets. So it's in place already. So if I pay tax per every crypto transaction that I make, via Luna, and it's just the normal income tax rules.
Okay, great. Thanks for that.
Yeah, cool.
Does somebody else have their hand up? Okay, I wanted to ask another question. I mean, if like using Itheum, you have to use it with a Bitcoin as well, or can you just use Itheum without the crypto?
That's a great question. You don't need the Bitcoin to use Itheum. You can, Etheum's got its own token, but again, you don't have to use that as well. So as Dr. Charles was saying, all the modern blockchain platforms don't deal with they try not to make it difficult for their users, because the concept, as Martin was saying as well, having wallets, doing all of these things. So there are ways that there are solutions that have already been put in place. So to use Itheum, you don't need Bitcoin, you don't need to have a specific token. All of that is abstracted away for you. You're just a consumer of another piece of technology which has got built-in blockchain capabilities. And just to follow up on that, if you're wondering how do you pay for Itheum, Etheum's an open source platform, an open platform. So we fund based on the money we raised, we fund for the platform to operate for social good.
Okay, it seems, Mark, hi. Okay, it seems like everybody, I mean, I think it's 9:30 now, and we've come to the end of the meeting. Do we want to pick this up next week?
Yeah, I guess we could have some maybe offline discussions about maybe a practical next step from a use case perspective. And then, yeah.
Because I think if you can show us how you are doing it with something, like, and then an actual business model behind it in terms of numbers, and then it will make more sense as well. And we can see, what we can apply here, or what we could do.
Yep, sure. We can. We'll work with Transhuman Coin. We'll think of a proposal.
Yeah, and I hope this is like, I suppose you are feeling like you are educating us every week. It's very new to all of us, So.
No, all good. I think we are happy to explain a lot of this. Yeah, I mean, it is new technology, but nothing to be afraid of. This is the next generation of the internet, and a lot of these questions around regulation, all of these are being addressed, and it's just part of the process. So embracing it. And one thing I'll just leave you guys with is blockchain technology is community technology. So if you're engaging your communities, there's no better way to do it.
Yes. And I mean, I suppose it's going to be a good way to train data and to also share data. And I think we see that opportunity. So it's just a matter of like how do we navigate using it?
Yeah.
Chris, do you have anything to add, and we can close off?
Nothing further from my side. Thanks, Riz.
So next week we'll reconvene. Anybody else wants to add anything, and we can close off, and next week we can reconvene.
Yeah, and by next week, we would be bringing on board some proposals, from the TSC Itheum partnership.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Friday.
And you too. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.